Okay, hi everybody. So this is the technical session for the co-development call, the deadline of which is the 25th of February, 2026. If you're watching this at a later stage and it's a different deadline, you need to watch a different recording because things can change. So this is specifically for the deadline in February 26. So I am going to go through everything today. You can follow along and start filling in your application as we go along. And I'm starting from scratch, as you can see from this page. So, okay then. So literally, Google page, go into funding and tenders portal, and you go straight into it here. Okay, any questions at all, put it in chat and we can deal with it as we go. So I'm not signed in. You can go. So this is the main page. You go into funding, calls for proposals. And over here on the left, we have programming period. It was 21 to 27. Program is, see it, this deals with all the programs. So you have to find the one you want. And if you put in CodeDev, there we go. And it has every year in. So we're looking for 2026. There's that one there. And here it is. Okay, so we go in here. Now, I'll just bring it briefly through this page because it has a lot of useful information. So this gives the topic description, the main basis of the call, which we went through in the last info session. So you should be familiar with all of that. This is very helpful because there's any updates with the topic. Sometimes there can be delayed. Sometimes there can be the deadline might change, maybe very rarely, but sometimes there might be a change in the document. So if there are any changes, it pops up here. Go down here, so top conditions and documents. And as you can see, it's all bringing us back to that one call document. So everything is in that call document, and that document is your Bible. And I will go through that later on because all the award criteria is on. So make sure you have that open with you at all times when you're doing the application, because having the award criteria beside you is very helpful. Here are their templates, but these are sample templates, so don't use them. Okay, these are only sample. They're not, the chances are they're not fully up to date. So you will only use the templates that are in your actual submission when you start, in your own page when you start the submission. Okay, a lot of grant agreements, a lot of other EU financial regulations, all the stuff you want, if you want to delve deeper into it. Here's a budget overview. It's 9 million. There's a partner search. Doesn't really work for CodeDev, but you can check it out. So down here, then this is their start submission, but down here, there's FAQ on the portal. If you need, there's also the IT help desk and an online manual. The IT help desk is great. They're very calm, which always helps in technical situations, especially when it comes to the last day or so. Okay, so we click start submission. And okay. Okay, so you would have your EU login by this stage, and you have your pick by this stage. So I'm not doing test for that. This is my pick here. Okay, so you have to have your pick registered before you go on ahead with it. Okay, and I'm going to use the very creative test for the acronym and the short summary. Bear in mind that the acronym, don't put in CodeDev 2026 because that's not helpful for Brussels. They get a big long list of CodeDev 2026. So make sure you put your company or abbreviation of your company there, or the project, preferably the project actually, of course. So it'll be the project, CodeDev, and 2026 here. Very short summary. You can go back to this and you can update it, but you have to put your acronym in first, but you can go back and update your summary. So we save, go to the next step. Okay. And there's all these lovely terms and conditions that you have to agree with, and you can spend your time going through that.
Sorry, Orla, we're not seeing your actual screen. Are we meant to be seeing your screen as you're going along? We're just seeing you at the moment.
I can see it here on the side.
It might be your own view.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Orla, can you just swap out? Can you just make a co-host there? Just Ashling's out the internet.
Yep.
Sorry, I just sent you a message. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. But you can't see it, can you? Most of you?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
can
can
see
see
it as
it.
well.
Okay.
I can see it.
Cool. Okay, so we've started the proposal and we're going to continue with this proposal here. Okay, so this is your first page. Now, you are going to need to add, because this is co-development and you're going to need another partner, you're going to have to add a partner in here. Okay, now you can go back in and add them afterwards, but while we're here, we might as well add them in. So I'm going to add in the lovely Jules Nicruher from the media desk in Galway, and she's, for this purposes, she's going to be our partner for this for this application, our test application. And also here, just so you're aware with this page, this is the main contact, right? But you can add a contact in. So if you have a couple of people working in your own company, there's no harm at adding an extra contact so that your email isn't the only email that's getting information about it. It is very handy to have at somebody else. So I'm going to add a partner in, and then I'm going to look for its media antenna, and you can search. So you don't need to know your PIC number straight away, but you need to know the actual legal name of the organization that you're putting in. So here we are here. So I'm just going to use Galway. Okay, so the project, you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the sharing. I'm going to share my full screen just so to make sure you can see everything. Okay, so this is when I'm adding the Galway office for the partner for the account. So this is participant contact. She's going to be the main contact. I'm going to go Jules, and hopefully I can remember how to spell your name, Jules. Close enough, I hope. Okay, and the email address then as well. So Jules will then get an email straight away to let her know that you've started this. Okay, so then it's in, right? So you can save and go to the next step. Now, if you don't have them or you need to talk to your partner, you can go on and go back in afterwards. Okay, so this is the page that you are going to see a lot, right? A lot of information here. It tells you what this page is. Submit your proposal as early as possible, as we all know, but you can update and resubmit an improved version many times for the call closure. Very important to know. And submitting the proposal will overwrite any previous versions. So if you just get one in a few days in advance of the deadline, because at least you have a version in there. And then if you're waiting for a letter or you're waiting for an LOI or whatever it is, you can go in and update it and resubmit it. But at least then you have an application in anyway. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then this page is what you're going to see a lot of. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom actually, because this, see this back to participants list? So that is where you can go straight back in here and you can add in a partner. Okay. Validate is very handy. So as you're going through the process, you can use this validate button as many times as you want, and it'll bring up any errors or anything that you haven't done in it. And then you've got the lovely submit button down on the bottom right. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through all of these here, the edit forms, edit media database, edit part C, and then these are your templates over here on the left, and you will be uploading them here, and I will go through each of these individually. Over here, we have the name of the call, the type of the action. That's a wonderful creative name of test that I have, the acronym for the project. This is the ID, right? It can be, sometimes people can't find the ID, but this is your SEP number. So this, you will be asked this in a couple of the templates. So this is where it is. So we'll download part B templates now in a few minutes, but we will go through these one at a time. Okay, so I'm going to start up here and get these out of the way before you go through the actual core of the project. So we'll click Edit Forms. Edit Forms is also known as Part A, but they can't write Part A in there. So this is the Edit Forms. And there are 4 parts to the edit forms. Okay, it's general information, participants, budget, and other questions. So we go to general information, and it is exactly what it says in the tin. It's the general information. So that's the full title. Then you put in the language, duration, 36, because that's how long you can do it for. You can add it, you have to add in a keyword. Oh, there you go. So the fixed keyword then is going to be documentary or feature film, fiction, whatever it is. We'll stick in doc. You can add one in there. Again, don't get bogged down in all this. And then your free keywords here, if you want to add in a few extra. So the abstract here is a short summary of your project. Do click the question mark over here, and you will see it's to provide the reader with a clear understanding of the objectives of the proposal. But don't put it's a summary, a short description of it, but of the project, but don't put anything confidential in here. If you get awarded, this will automatically go public. Okay, there is a projects portal, like a projects page, where all the successful Creative Europe applications go, all the Creative Europe projects. So they all need a little summary of the project. So that's what this is where they take it from. So don't put anything confidential in it at all. Just put a general paragraph in here. And then as we go down, if you applied in the last couple of years with the same project, then you will click yes, and it will look for a contract number or a proposal reference. Okay, so well, it wouldn't have the contract number because you wouldn't be putting the same application in if you already received funding for it, because you can only get development funding for a project once. So it'll be the reference number for the proposal. And then down here, you have to click all the declarations. Very important. So read through them all, of course, but you have to click all them. Okay, so as we go back up here, that'll bring the table of contents up here will bring you back to those four, the four main parts of it. You validate form. Again, you can do that as many times as you want. Save form or save and exit. That'll bring you back completely out of this part A. So we'll just click save form. And we go back to table of contents. And that's the first part done. Then the participants, because we put in two partners, they both come up here. Okay, so we have the show participant detail. This won't take long. It's type of, an audiovisual producer, department name. If you're a massive company, you'll have a department. Or maybe you've got a development department, then you can put that down here. But if it's not applicable, you just need to put that here. Any links with other participants, this would be if it's an affiliate, you want to put an affiliate in, or you have to put an affiliate, that's what you would add in here. And then down here is just information about same as organization, same as proposing organization's address. A lot of the information is already on the portal anyway when you register for your pick. So all that information is there. Okay. So we save, update, thanks. Okay, back.
Orla, just to flag, there's a question from the previous section.
Oh, thanks, Aisling. Is the duration the development schedule or the development production? The development only. Yeah. So it's purely, so this action, as they call it, so this is only the development. This is not about the production. You will be asked about the production in the application, but for duration for this, it's the development. Okay. Thanks, Ash. So we go into budget, and then because there are two partners, you are going to have to put in the amount that both are requested. This isn't the total development budget amount. This isn't the production amount. This is just a breakdown of what each partner will be looking for from from Creative Europe itself. So we go back to table of contents. And then other questions, which is a great question because it's not applicable for this topic. Okay, so we'll go back to table of contents again. So they're the four elements here. Okay. So we can save an exit form. And that is this one done already, flying through it. Okay, the next one now is edit part C, and this will only take 2 minutes. So if you have it open, you can get this done right now. So we click in here. And this is the KPIs. This is statistics that Brussels need. So very simple. We add in the country, which is going to be Ireland. Now, preferably my partner, well, obviously our partner, Jules is from Ireland as well. So, technically now we're not eligible, Jules, unfortunately. But if we had another partner, you would add in that country. So if you are partnering with Slovenia, say. Okay, so you'll put both countries in there. Then down here you have the type of project or thematic area or types of activities. This is just statistical. This is just so they can see that all the projects that are funded by European money is some way in alignment with the ideas and values and the agenda of Europe. So we'll just find it could be economy that works for people, supporting small business. It could be our democracy, maybe your documentary is dealing with that. Digital age, just transition. Like there's a few here. Don't spend time on this. Click whichever ones you think and then move on. Types of participants. Now, participants here are companies. So when you click here, so a micro enterprise is fewer than 10 people. And then a small enterprise is fewer than 50 people. Okay, and these are all, so this is under 2 million and this is under 10 million. Okay, so we are both micro enterprise, so we're going to put 2 and then we're going to put 0 in here and 0 here. And then this bit here is only at reporting, so you don't actually have to need to deal with this now. This is, you'll have to fill this in if you get funding at the end of the whole process. Okay. And we'll save data, and that's all good. And then that's open it in a different tab. So I'm going to go back to this tab here. And then that's done. So we're flying through it. So we've already got edit forms done and we've got part C done here. Okay, next is going to be the edit media database. And before I go through that, no, actually, I'm just going to go straight into it. Okay, so edit media database here. So this is where you put all basically the logistics of the project. So there's 2 projects that you would need to fill in here. You need to fill in the track record project, and then you need to fill in for the project that is in development that you're actually looking for funding for. And it's detailed here. Like their instructions on these pages have gotten a lot better in recent years, so do read them because they do make sense and they are really good. So so this is one existing audiovisual work showing the recent experience, and then one audiovisual work in development. And then it says once the work has been created and added in the current page, download the PDF and then go back to the existing application form and submission service and attach PDF and the annexes of the application form. So I'll talk about that after I go through this. Okay, so the first one here, we'll put in the track record project. So we click add. So this is the project that makes you eligible. So this is the project that is has been produced and distributed since 2018. If it's before 2018, it's not eligible, which means your whole application will be eligible. So you choose the genre. That project in our it's going to be test 2018. Seriously creative. And then it was features cinema. Primary audience was all, and then film type, it was a one-off. Then if you have an IMDb link or an ISAN, you put them in here. It's not mandatory, there's no asterisk, but if you have them, put them in. And then a short synopsis of the actual project. Then you've got the choice of the link between the applicant company and the work. Was it a work produced by the applicant company? Was it one where the personal credit is eligible, or was it a co-production with another company? If it was a work produced by the applicant company, okay, we'll go through. So you need to put the start date of principal photography in here, the end, the shooting language, and it brings up the languages here, the film length, whatever length it was, of 90 minutes or whatever, because there is a minimum duration to be eligible, so you need to put that in there, and then the format. And I'm going. Okay, so here's the production structure. And actually, before I go into that, I'm going to go back here. So that is if it's the work produced by the company that you're applying with now. If you don't have that, and if it's a case where the work where personal credit is eligible, it asks you a few more things, right? So it asks for the name of the person for the personal credit. Bear in mind, this has to be a shareholder or the CEO or the managing director of the company can have this personal credit. So it can't be another employee of the company. So that's here, the position of the person credit, be shareholder or CEO or managing director, and then the on-screen credit. And the only on-screen credit that they will accept is producer, not exec producer, not line producer, nothing else. They only want to see producer. Okay, and then you still have to put in this other information here. The last one here is if it's a co-production with another company, okay, the on-screen credit would be producer. But if you put that in, you have, because you will have to show that you are the majority co-producer. If you do put in a co-producer, okay, you have to be the majority co-producer to be eligible for this. So we'll stick back in the work produced by the applicant company. And here is how they find out whether you have been the majority co-producer or the majority producer of the project, is this area here. So when you add here, it'll ask you to, so you can see the share and percentage, the budget of the whole project, but just share in percentage of the project. Or yeah, so we hear, but they only ask for producer and co-producer. They don't ask for other financiers. They don't ask for, well, how much did Screen Ireland put in, and how much did you get from the Belgian tax credit? It's like they don't want to know that. They just want to know how much did the producer and co-producer bring to the table. And if whoever brought the most money to the table, according to this, is the majority co-producer. Okay, that's what they want to see. So if you put producer in and you put your company name in and the country, and it has to be over share 100%, or it would have to be over 51% if you are applying as the coordinator in this to be eligible. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Cancel that out. Actually, I'm just going to save those. Sorry. Okay. Company. And then we're going to go to Austria just to show you. And it was, and the role was producer. And save just to show, see it comes up here. And then you can go and you can edit it or you can delete it. So you can add more in here if there's a lot of producers in that project. And then you've got the countries of distribution. So this, it has to be distributed and commercially distributed in 3 countries outside of your own. Outside of your own, I mean outside of the coordinator's country. So we'll add this in. So it'll be the company name would be yours. No, it wouldn't. The company name would be the company of whether it's a broadcaster or whether it was a cinema or whether it was a distributor or whether it was a platform, whatever. Whatever it is, this is where you put that in. You put the role in there, you put the countries in here, and then the broadcast date. And the broadcast date has to be since, actually, we'll do it easier. Will it let me? No, it won't. Oh, the joys of this. Yeah, and you have to go back. So actually, do you know what? This project that we had was the first, that's when it was released. Okay, in Austria, in the broadcaster. Okay, so we'll save that. It's not going to let me, so I'll cancel that. But so when you add in another one, so we'll try another one here, right? It doesn't have to be a doesn't have to be a media country for this. Okay. It could be anywhere in the world. Okay, just to click this, but it just has to, you just have to show that it has been distributed outside of Ireland. And when you save that, there's one. You need three. Okay, you have to have three here, and they have to be different countries. So we'll save. So that is the previous experience. Okay, so we'll save as draft because we're not ready to submit that yet. But we'll save it as draft, and it's here, right? And then you can just go back in and edit it. So you don't have to do all of this all at once. You can go back in and spend the next few weeks on working on this. So the next one here is the project that you're putting in for the grant itself. So same thing, very similar. Choose the audience, choose the genre, choose the delivery platform, whether it's linear or non-linear. Whether it's one-off or if it's a series. Again, you won't have the IMDb link. You might do. You might have already registered, and if you have, great, put it in, but the chances are you won't, and that's fine. You put a short synopsis of it here. Then you put the start date of the principal photography and shooting language, and make sure, the most important thing is that you make sure that this is 10 months after the deadline. Okay. So the earliest that this date can be for you to be eligible will be Christmas Day, because that is 10 months to the day from the 25th of February. So it's Christmas Day. So if you want to go shooting on Christmas Day, that is absolutely fine. Okay. But do not put it earlier than that, because it will make you ineligible, because you have to leave 10 months for development. So again, we got the shooting languages. I'm going to stick it in English. Total development cost. This is just development cost. Now, this is the total development cost. This isn't what you're applying for. This is the total development cost. Okay. Here. So the total duration, number of episodes, because I put in that's a series, and the average duration of series. So if I put in, that disappears. Okay. So it's depending what you put in, things will come and go. And as we go down here, we've got the cast and crew. It's looking for a lot. Okay. So it's expecting you, they sort of would like you to have this. And we know it's development and you probably don't have all of these in place, but you can put in a TBC. Okay. Like the actors, you probably won't have them in place, but you will put the name, last name, gender, and nationality. Okay. And the nationality is important in all of these here. And we'll go into that later. Okay. So they want all of these here. If you don't have them, put in TBC. Or if you're talking to somebody, just put them in and you could put TBC beside them. And then you can also add in. So if there is more, you can add a lot more. Okay, like there's character designer, if it's animation, it's, so you can put it, if you do have more attached at the moment, you can put them in there.
Hi, Orla, just a flag. There's a few questions
Oh,
here in this section.
Listen to questions. Thanks, Ashling. Okay. The duration, yeah. Do you need to add your co-producer amount of the grant proposal in the budget? Is that for the project that you're applying for? If you
Exactly.
do, yeah. Yes, you do. Yeah.
Thanks.
How strict are they on the exact dates for international territories? Release dates of numerous amount. Just pick one. Just pick one date. If they can't find if they can't find it, they will ask for proof. Okay, they will go online. They can find a lot online. If they will go online and look, but if they can't find it, they will look for proof. And if they look for proof, they are going to ask you, well, where'd you get that date? So find a date. It doesn't have to be the exact release. It could be a screening. Maybe you don't have the exact date that it was released in the cinemas, but it was in the cinema the following week because you have a proof and it's a date. Put that date. Okay, so just whatever you have, actual proof that it's actually been on a screen commercially.
Yeah, no, I guess it comes down to May's question as well. We'll have the details for probably our main territories. It just gets tricky if like India or once they've sold in multiple territories, it's not always the easiest to get that information out of them just because they're so slow.
Yeah, yes. Well, pick one. I mean, if you can't, like, you just need to pick three countries. So, if you can't, just give a rough date because if you have like once if you have a sales report showing all that, chances are, and it's since 2020 or 2018, then that'll be fine, you
Because
know.
then
And
a lot looks better if you've sold in more territories.
it doesn't matter, not for this bit.
Okay.
They only need three.
Okay.
It does look great, and you can talk about that in the actual application itself, but don't list 68 countries. Okay, so they only want three. This is purely just to tick the box. Okay, the
Right.
fact you have it in 68 countries is fantastic, and you will talk about that in the application, and you'll talk about the experience of going through that, you know, and yeah, that'll be great for you in the actual application, but not here. Okay. Is there a word count for the synopsis as used? Can you suggest one? Don't have a word count. Two paragraphs. Like it's not that like again, this isn't like the synopsis of that is just to make it easier for the evaluator just to say, okay, we are at the right project, but it's not really evaluated. Really, it just makes sense. Make sure it's coherent with the actual the creative dossier that you're putting in, the actual information you're putting in within the actual application in the part B. Um, but yeah, no, just a short paragraph. I wouldn't. Again, don't lose sleep on these things. Okay, it's a lot more to worry about. Does the project need to have an ISAN at this stage? No, no, it's just if you have it, put it in. If you don't have it, that's absolutely fine. It is a deliverable at the end, and we'll go through deliverables. But you don't need it. You don't need it right now. Okay. So yeah, so that's that. And then the locations, the shooting location, post-production location is important. And here, studio location as well. So this is important, particularly with animation, that they want to see where the location is going to be. So you need to put that in. And they want to see, like, it doesn't have to be like obviously it doesn't have to be Europe, okay, but I think that this was brought in really for just to double check the animation because a lot of animation was leaving European countries and going to Canada and going to Asia and stuff, so just it's but you still have to fill it
Orla, this is a quick question. Do documentary productions need to fill the actors section?
out. It would be the main, yeah, you do, it's an asterisk here, so you have to fill it in. And the the thing with the actors, it's like it's the main characters, for a lack of a better word, in your documentary. And if it's TBC, it's TBC. Okay. That's absolutely fine. But they do, yeah, you do have to fill that in. And once you describe and talk about it anyway in the application, it's going to make sense for them. Like they're not going to look at this first, because it's going to be hard for them to actually make sense of all of this without reading your actual application. Okay, but it has to be coherent. As you go down here, then we got the ownership of rights. Very important. Don't forget to add them in. Don't forget to have them signed going in. And they need to be dated. So if it's an original work, then it's the type of contract with the author. You've got 5 version serial. Option agreement to transfer rights is probably the most common that we see. Unilateral declaration of transfer of rights if it's within the company. A lot of time that's used here, or if it's public domain. And then you got start date of the ownership, end date of the ownership, and then the date of signature of agreement. If it's in perpetuity, you just go to as far as you can, okay? Because you can't actually stick in. So just put it 10 years, and then you'll explain anyway in the application that's it's in perpetuity. Down here, then we got the estimated production structure and financing. Again, it's like previous, it's the producer and co-producer, roughly how much are you bringing to the table. So this is, so here would be ideally it would be your co-development partner would be the co-producer, and then how much, oh, you don't even look for how much. So they're just looking for the producer and the co-producer. Getting ahead of myself there. Okay, and then you got then you got the language. What language they would work in. Total estimated budget, production budget, including development. So this is everything. Again, it's estimated. So it can change, and that's absolutely fine, and they don't mind that. But you just have to make sure that this correlates with what you're talking about in your application. Okay. So here, ownership of rights going back here, if it's an adaptation, it adds more. So then you have to put in the name of the author, the original title of the work, and then the type of contract with the original author. Okay, so make sure you have this chain within the filled out here and also in the application. Okay, so that is everything that you have to put in for the project for a grant request. And this bit does take a bit of time, and make sure you go back over and you check, because it's very easy to add in a little typo of a date or something. So just make sure that this is correct. And then you save as draft. Now, as you say, and it won't let me because I have just loads that I haven't filled in, so I'm not going to do that now. But when you have all of this, when you're happy it's all ready to go, you can click submit. And once you click submit, then if I go back up here, just up here to edit dossier, it brings me back here. Or you can do it here. So you click submit, and then after that's happened, the little box will come up of a create PDF. So you download PDF. So when you download the PDF, and we go back up here, because that opened up another tab. If we go back in here, this is where you upload that PDF. Is right here. PDF information for films and works generated from the Creative Europe Media Database. Now, there is method to the madness. There is a reason for this, because all these go straight into the portal in Brussels, and Brussels read this. So the team in Creative Europe in the agency in Brussels will be able to access all of this information. They make sure you're eligible and all of that, but the evaluators can't access this. But the evaluators need to see that information there in the media database. So they can only read these. So that's why you have to download it here and re-upload it here. I know it sounds ridiculous, but for the evaluator to be able to do it, that's what you need to do. Or be able to evaluate the project, that's all you need to do. So that's all of these here. Okay, you can go and view history, print preview, all of that. Okay, but now we're going to go into the meat of the application here. So we'll go down through these. So these are your Part B templates, and this you're going to upload them all here. So I'll just go through them. Part B of proposal is going to be here. I'm going to go through them. Co-development agreement is not a template. You have to get this. You've done yourself. There is a list of things that have to be included. It's in the call document of what they expect to see in the co-development agreement. So just make sure you have that in there, and make sure it's detailed enough. If you can put in the roles and responsibilities, the budget, how you're dividing up the budget, all of that, like the terms and conditions, the license, anything like that is it has to go in here. Okay. And then you upload it. And then if you click any of these eyes here, it'll give you information specifically about that. So it'll give you the fact that oh, hang on, I'm seeing messages. Okay. Do documentary, yeah. Where a section isn't relevant to documentary such factors are not that. Is there a way to address that or market NA? It's an idea yeah, of course, an idea you originate yourself. That's fine. You don't have, like this in the media database, you don't have to put in the adaptive. We'll go back here. Hang on, no, that's the part C. Move that out of the way. If we go down back in here, this can be it's an original work. So you don't have to put in the adaptation. Okay, so that's fine then if it's an original work. The actors, but you still have to have a written, you still have to have a contract that the actual company has the rights. It could be a person within the company, it could be your own company, and you have the rights, but you have to transfer the rights to your company to be eligible for this. And then can the co-development agreement be submitted in draft form, or does it need to be fully executed? it can't be in draft, it has to be signed. Like you can't say, you know, with an idea to a long form contract, but you have to have an actual co-development agreement signed between the two partners with all the details. And it doesn't have to be particularly long. But all the detail and because they look for specific details, generally you have to create it, like one you have already mightn't have all the information that they need. So you would have to generate one now anyway. But it would have to be like it's not a co-production agreement, like it is co-development, but so yeah, you would have to have it done. And like I said, with documentary with actors, put in TBC. Okay. Or put it, yeah, there would be characters. It's in documentaries, narrative documentaries, there would be certain characters. So you would put that in. So yeah, so I'd put TBC. Okay. So we'll go back here. Okay, so back here, and as you go into I and all of these, so it tells you exactly what you want. It tells you how to put the file name in. Sometimes you get stuck and you're putting in a different character as the title, and it won't let you upload it. And that's just because the title is very specific what you can put in. Maximum file size is 10 megabytes. For part B, the maximum number of pages is 70. So make sure you can't go over to 70 pages for this call. If you do, if you go to 75, the last 5 pages won't be seen by the evaluator, which isn't good. So you have to have it within 70 pages. And then as we go down through the next one, it's the size. It's not the number of pages, it's the size. So this one can't be more than 10 megabytes and it has to be a PDF. Creative Dossier, there is a template for Creative Dossier, 10 megabytes PDF. Detailed budget table that I will go through in detail. That'll be in Excel. Then we got, and that's a template as well. Info and independence and ownership control is a template. The language of submission documents is a template. The PDF is coming from up here. And then the rights contracts, there isn't a template, but you have to have the rights for the project and signed and dated. Okay. Supporting documents, co-production and distribution and finance. Again, no template, but these are all your LOIs that are going to help really support your application. So anybody you're talking about in here, that you've had great discussions with a certain sales agent or distributor or financier, whatever it is, they want to see proof. So even if you're talking to a sales agent, and we know it's early, and we know you don't have contracts, but if you are talking to a sales agent and they're just really interested in it, but they'd like to see more, I mean, they're not committing now, but it just, if they want to keep the conversation going, then that's an LOI that you need to put in, okay? Because it definitely gives them confidence then that you're legit when you're talking about these people, that you are actually talking about these people, or talking to these people. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download Part B templates. And it goes straight into downloads, and which is here, comes up as a templates. Zip, and we'll open that. Now, this is what you will see. Certain things. Now, it's an RTF. Okay, you get five documents here. 2 of them are RTFs. Don't work off an RTF. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like if you go in as an RTF. It looks like this. Okay, really hard to deal with, really hard to work with. The formatting disappears. It's horrible. So you have to open it as a Word doc. And it looks so much nicer. Okay, so just be careful with that. Don't go. And so that, yeah, don't use the RTF. And it's amazing the amount of people that still do, and they feel like they have to, but please don't. And the problem with this is then you have to save it as people think, well, it's open now and I can just close it. But you have to save it as a Word document, or it'll just automatically save back as an RTF. So you just make sure you save it as a Word document. So it's all these little things that'll trip you up. So this is the application which I'm going to go through, not yet, in a few minutes. Okay. The next one here is a creative dossier. Again, and this is where the RTF versus the Word document is particularly important, because if I open that as an RTF, all you see is this. Right, that's it. Whereas if I open it as a Word document, you get the instructions. And those instructions aren't here in the RTF. So just make sure that you open it as a Word document and save it as a Word document. Again, I'll go through that in a minute. There's your budget table, which we'll do that after the break. So after with a very strong coffee, we'll go through the budget. And then there's the template of information on independence and ownership control, and then the language of submission documents. So I'm going to go through these now. I'm going to go through the easy ones now. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll go through the actual application form and the budget, and maybe the create dossier as well. So we'll go through. No more questions at the moment. Okay. So the easy one first. So we'll open up the language of submission documents. So this is the reason behind this. And I feel it's good to know the reason why they do certain things. It's sort of it makes sense, and you know, give out to them as much in your head. So this is the language of submission documents. So the idea behind this is you have to let them know in this document what language the treatment is, what language the director's note is, the script is, the contract is, because they have to find evaluators outside of your own country with the languages in that are in here. So it used to be a case of, you know, the evaluators would be picking, and all of a sudden they would have you know, documents that they don't understand. So they just have to make sure in advance that they can match the evaluator, the language ability of the evaluator with the correct application. So this, again, this document it's very straightforward, and they have detailed in the instructions an awful lot better than it used to be, which is great. So you don't change the structure of the file, you don't add other sheets, and you only write in the white fields below. So I'll blow this up a little bit so we can see it. So this is your proposal acronym. This is up over here. All right, it's a wonderful test. The proposal number. This is your draft. This is your SEP number here. See, they don't call a proposal number again, you know, so it's just it's important that you know what that is. Coordinator legal name, your pick, the country, and then here you have the list of documents. Now you can add other documents in here, and you can just keep them all in this box. But you can add more documents in here if you have more to add. So, and all you literally do is you will put in EN for English. Okay. If the director's note is in French, you put it in French. And if the script was in Irish, you put it in Irish. I think GA is good. So as you go down, so this is, so more than likely it's going to be EN the whole way down. So just add them in, and instead of just going all EN, just list it out. It'll only take you a couple of minutes. So just list them out and put EN the whole way down, just so they can see it. Okay. And that's it, right? So you save that and you upload it here. Where's it? This one here. Okay. And the way to upload it is here. So actually, do you know what? I'm actually going to do it. And we'll save that. And then we'll upload it. And I bet you it's not going to work, but we'll try. Okay, so actually that's just going to open every file in my thing. So maybe I'm just going to leave it. So that's where you upload here. So all the upload buttons are here. If it doesn't let you upload, it's because of the name. You might have a little character in there that doesn't work. But you will, this is where you will upload them. Okay. So that is the first one done, right? So there you go. That's the language of submission documents. The next one here is the information on independence and ownership and ownership control. So this is the control of the companies. They need to make sure that the companies applying are majority European, that the shareholders are from Creative Europe countries, participating countries. So that's what this is for. So again, full ownership structure of the companies. Again, fantastic instructions. Take your time, read through them. It makes a lot of sense to go through them if you do get stuck. So you have the project name, Again, you have the project ID, the name of the applicant, which is coordinator, and the name of your partner. Now, if you have 2 partners, you put in here, you won't have 10. Okay, it gives you, see all the sheets down here, but it won't. You'll have so there's us, which is, I'm just going to go media desk, and then beneficiary is media. Project names. Wonderful test. Okay, so that's how. So you do not remove or rename sheets. Don't, because you've only got 2. Don't delete all these. Just leave them as is, and just fill in what you need to fill in. Only complete information in cells in. Okay, so as we go in here, right? So the first one, be the coordinator. So the name media desk. So the company name comes up here. This is where you put in the information. So you got the name of the shareholder, okay, person name, not company name. If your company is owned by 3 people, then you list the 3 people here. If your company is owned by 2 people and a company has a share in it, well, you'll have to do that. So I'm going to put in Paul, Jane, and company, right? If I can spell company, okay. So the nationality of the shareholder is, and you can pick, they could be from anywhere. But Paul for us is from Belgium. Status of the shareholder, physical or legal person. Okay. Legal person is a company. Legal person is not the solicitor, it's not the lawyer, it's the actual company, the legal entity of the company. Okay. So it's not a company. I really wish they would put in, but this is how it's done. So, and I know it causes confusion, but this is if it's a company. But Paul is not a company. Paul is a physical person. Okay. So because of that, this goes black over here. So the main activity of if the legal person, right? So it would be if it's a company, but Paul is not a company. The number of shares, Paul's going to have, say, 40 shares, right? And the shareholding is going to be 40%, right? But because he's not a company, this goes black. So this is, if it's a company, you have to put in all the shareholders of that company. Okay. So we've got Jane over here is from Afghanistan and physical person as well. And it's going to be 5% and 5, right? But then you got a company, and again, goes black. And then company is going to be from, but just make sure that that's going to be a legal person. So main activity, you have to put in what type of company it is. If it's a production company, if it's a broadcasting company. So just be careful with this. And if a broadcasting company has over 50% of your project, then that could be an issue, right? That will be an issue. So we're not going to put for this production. So be careful about this, because even with, if it's another production company, you have to go into that production company and get all those shareholders and list them out here. Okay, and then you have to put in the full chain of shareholders, the countries they're from, because at the end it goes all the way down to all the people that are shareholders of your company and that they're actually European. And the majority of this has to be European, or you're not going to be eligible. So just be careful of that. Now this document, so and then right, so this is your company, and then we go into down here at the bottom, it says other BE1, which is not a beneficiary, and this is your production. This is your co-developer. So you have to fill out exactly the same for them. So you need that information from your partner, and that needs to go in here. We have questions. If you have a non-financial beneficiary partner, do they go in there too? Good question. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I will get back to you on that one. Yeah. Yeah, leave that with me. Yeah. Okay. So you have to put in this, so you have to fill in for your partner as well. And then your other 8 partners, if you have other 8 partners, right? There's one for each. Don't delete them if you don't have more, but just fill them in there. Okay. So that is this document here. Now this document will get uploaded here. If you do have it shouldn't take long if you've got a small company. If you do have a tricky shareholding, it might take time. So try and get that done sooner rather than later. And that goes into info and independence and ownership control. And what they've done is what they've noticed this year for the first time, what they've done is they're asking for this as a deliverable as well. So because what they've found is that companies are changing their shareholding after they get funded and before they report. So during the length of the action, companies are suddenly becoming ineligible because the shareholding has changed. So now they're looking for the actual an updated version of this as a deliverable. So if your company does change in any way, bear in mind that it will have an impact on whether you're eligible or not throughout, because you have to be eligible throughout the whole action while you have funding. Okay, so that are those two documents. So what have we done here then? Okay, we've done that. We have done the language. We've got the PDF done. We've got the rights contracts done. What else? Where are we? Okay. So next we have the budget table and the creative dossier. I'll go through the creative dossier and then we'll take a break. So the creative dossier is, no, it's not that. That's just a summary of the call. It's very handy, actually. I'll send it to you as well. The creative dossier is this. Okay. So they've put this in as they just want your creative dossier to be structured. It doesn't have to remain as a portrait. But it can be landscape. If you probably have a beautiful document with loads of images of your project, that's fine, and you can upload that as it. These are all the documents that are required or can be uploaded. It can be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be uploaded for these projects. So if it's a fiction, gives you a list of them. So it's a log line, link to trailer or teaser if you have one, synopsis, series pitch in case of series, treatment, episode outline, visual approach, artistic approach, mood board. So it gives you everything. Director's and producer's note, and a sample of the latest script with dialogue samples. They don't want full scripts. They ask, but please don't put up full scripts because the evaluators don't have time to read them. And if you did put it in, they'd only read the first 20 pages anyway. Okay, which will not give them a good overview of the project. So you're better off. So it is giving you the option here to put in a sample of the later script with the dialogue samples if you want. Okay, max 20 pages. But just make sure treatment is vital. Because a treatment will give the evaluator a really good sense of the project as a whole, whereas a script, and plus if it's an early stage of the script as well, you can shoot yourself in the foot by putting it in too early when it's not ready. So just make sure, and then if you can put in a dialogue sample, that's fine, but make sure you put in that treatment. But see here, it gives you the max that they want to see. They don't want a treatment that's 20 pages long. They don't want an episode outline, which is 40 pages. They are asking for max, and they are saying, please respect the page limits. They are not indicative. They want you to, now if you go a page or two over, they're not, like, it's not going to make you ineligible. It's not, but you don't want to annoy your evaluator by giving them tons and tons of documents and tons, but like try and be as succinct as possible, to the point, but with enough information there that they can get a full sense of the project. Okay. You want to be friends with your evaluator. Okay, so don't just be careful here because you're not the only application that they have. Okay, questions. Creative dossier question. What if your project is fictional and animation? Well, if it's an animation, this is when it says fiction here, it means drama. Okay, live action drama. And then with creative documentary and then animation. So of course your animation will probably be fictional. So I'd put it under here. If it's a mix, so if you've got an animated documentary, it's the percentage of the like if it's mostly animation, chances are it would fall under the animation. If it's a documentary with bits of animation in it, it would be a documentary. So it's the percentage of balance it out. You'd be able to figure that one out. You know your project better than anyone. So again, here for Creative Doxa, it gives you what they're looking for. Like a treatment is max 6 pages, because they want you, they don't want, they want the information from you, but they want it as succinct as possible. I'm repeating myself now, but you know what I mean. Okay, so and here for animation projects, it's a Bible, really, that you need to put in. Episode outline, case of a series. Directors and producers' notes are really important as well, because this is where you can show the passion for your project. This is where you can really put in that you're going to make this project no matter what, the reasons behind the project, what makes it so personal to the director or yourselves. It's a really it's an important part. It makes the project really authentic, that you're not just pulling the project from a shelf. And then the visual approach, artistic approach, mood board, all of that is really important too, because it gives them, sound, music, it gives them an idea, and overall a really good sense of the project. So when they're looking at the strategies that they can look at and the budget, they can go, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. But if it's not in line with, if you're not giving them enough in this, then they can't really see the strategy, how the strategy will work, because they can't get a full picture of it in their head. So try and give them as much as you can here within reason. Okay. The Creative Dossier template that downloads is an RTF file, should be converted to Word. Yes. So when you go in to open it, like here now, I'm on Mac, so I know PC is different. But when you go in to open it, I just right click and open with, and it gives you a choice. Okay, so open it with Microsoft Word or convert it, but it's just easier to open it. Okay, don't start as an RTF and try and convert it to Microsoft Word, because the formatting just goes off. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pause this now. Actually, I'm going to get that back up here. I'm going to pause this. Okay, so just had a question there about the Creative Dossier, whether it's one, whether you put everything into one PDF or can you upload different documents. All of those documents with the Creative Dossier have to go into one PDF, maximum 10 megabytes. And this can be difficult when it's a lot of images and stuff, but bear in mind that if you're applying for Slate, this is exactly the same. So you've got 5 projects to go in. And the max is 10 megabytes. So with one project, you should be fine, but it can't go over 10 megabytes. And it is, you put it all together in one attachment. And it's the same down here. All of this is just one attachment. So your supporting documents, co-production, distribution, all your LOIs will go in, you save it as one PDF and you upload it, and that PDF can't be more than 10 megabytes. Okay. Yeah, any questions like that you have, please ask, because it's stuff that I might cover. So okay, so there is the Creative Dossier. And again, it can be, and you put in the log line, you put in the insert link to trailer or teaser, and then you insert all of the it says repeat it as necessary for further projects, because this is the same document that you would see for Slate. So with you, it's just a one project. And it doesn't have to be portrait, it's fine, it can be landscape. Okay. Okay, so now we're getting into the fun stuff. So we have the part B and we have the budget. I'm going to go through the part B. And so we will go through this. So this is when you have all of this, so hopefully you've been able to sort of tick some of this off your list and get this done. And you've got a good idea of what you need to do to get your rights contracts. And hopefully you're getting those letters in, your LOIs. You got the PDF. So you've got all of these done. So now you need to spend most of your time on this. Okay, this is where the evaluation really, this is where your points come from. So spend as much time as you can on this. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, I think a few of you are fairly well familiar with it, but just for those of you who aren't, this is one document for all the media calls. Okay, so you have to find the questions relating specifically to your call. Again, the instructions are great. Read the instructions. Okay, page limit normally 70 pages unless otherwise provided. The min, like even down to the minimum font size, Arial 9 points. because people try and particularly in Slate, they've written a lot and they're trying to squeeze it all in and they go to 8 and 7. You can't read that. So the evaluator has to be able to read this, has to be legible. So that's why the minimum is 9 points. And also this document, it's tagged. So be careful not to delete tags. They are needed for processing. What are tags? You may ask. Tags are these. See these? All these characters here. Okay. Don't ask me how it works, but all I know is that you're not to delete them. Okay, so just be careful on that. Okay. So you can jump with this, you can jump to all the different sections straight away. You can put your project name in, you put your acronym, you put the coordinator contact. Here, up here in the header, you will put in the call identifier. The call identifier is this here. Okay, so actually I'll just do that now. Go. And then the call name, the exact call name is, you can get it from the call document. And this document you should have open beside you while you are doing your application. Okay, so download this and have it open if you don't already. So the name of the actual call is European Co-Development. And you put that here. Okay. See, that is something else that is done. It doesn't matter if it's in. There we go. Okay. We'll go back up. Okay, so there you go. So it's up on all the pages, right? Again, these are little things that could slow you down at the end. So if you get them done now, then they're done and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so you put in your title and you put in your name. Now, the project summary, the abstract, it's already done. You don't need to add it in here. You can if you want, but you don't have to. So this is the abstract at the very beginning that can't be can't have any confidential info in it that will go public if you get funded. So as we go down here, you will see that all the questions for all the calls are here. So we need to find our own. Now, you can delete the other questions that are relevant. I'm very hesitant to do that because you never know, you might delete the wrong one. And if you delete your own question, then you're screwed because then you will not get points for that particular question, obviously. So what I find the best way to do it is, this bit is first I see here it is for European Co-Development. So I'm just going to bold this. Okay. And for everything else, I am just going to gray it out. Why aren't you working? It's not working. Usually you can gray this out. Okay. Yeah. The joys. But that should work for you. And it worked for me earlier on, so I don't know why. But as you can see, it's bolded here. So we can go through it here. So provide a presentation on the applicant company and partners for the European Co-Development TV, online and video games contact actions. It's management activities, present position in the national and European markets, editorial line in terms of development and production. So you need to put a presentation here of both companies. If there are two companies, you have to put it for the three companies if you're partnering with two other companies. It's unusual to have more companies, but whoever you're partnering with, you have to put them here. Okay. So you need to break it down, and it's like the leaving cert, you can break this down so you can have a heading of management, you can have a heading of activities, the present position in the national, and break it down like this because it'll be much easier for the evaluator to read it instead of one big long section where they're looking for the information because they want to give you the points, but if they have to go searching for it, it's difficult for them. So just make sure that it's laid out properly and it's very easy for them to read. But cover all of this. They are looking for, if they ask for this information, they're looking for this information. Okay, so just make sure, like management's like, oh, I'm not going to go into that. You have to put in everything that they ask for. because that's how you get the points. So yeah, so the management activities, present position on the markets, and editorial line, like what projects, if you've had very successful, it could be your own personal expertise. If it's a new company, it could be the company's expertise, if track record, if you've had that for a long time. Whatever it is, to put your best foot forward. Irish applicants find it difficult, I think, sometimes to do that. But this is where you really sell yourself. Okay. And the types of projects you want to make. And then when you talk about both companies, then it'll show then that you're aligned it could be your values, it could be the types of projects you want to make. Because the evaluator wants to see that it makes sense that both of you are working together on this. So here's a good way of really highlighting the areas that you're both on the same page as, and so it makes sense why you're working together. Okay, as we go down to the next one, and actually for this, I am going to open up the call document. So in this call document, down on page somewhere. Where is it? Here we go. Here we go. Okay. What page is that? That is page 17. These are your award criteria. So not only are you answering the actual every word in the question, you also have to make sure that you deal with everything in here too. Okay. So for the needs, analysis, and specific objectives, we look here, and we'll bold that one. And I'll see if this works here. Oh, I know what I was doing wrong. I was trying to fill it in. Yeah, so so grey it out. God, it's Friday morning, that's my problem. Okay, so you grey it out. So see, this is much easier now to highlight it. You can go back in and delete it, but just make sure that you delete the right one. Okay, so for co-development, describe the added value of the co-development approach, in particular with regards to the nature of the project, the complementary of the background, and the experience of the partners involved. So initially you're talking about the actual partners, and here you're bringing that information and you're going to explain exactly why you're working together. Describe how the production companies will collaborate on the joint development of creative aspects and storytelling. And remember, this is a creative co-development, so you really need to focus on how you're working together. That's what they want to see. It's not just a financial one. And as you can see, like most of the points are going towards that. They're not necessarily going towards the project. They're actually going towards how you're collaborating together and how it makes sense for the project. So here, level of collaboration between the production companies in terms of joint development on creative aspects and storytelling is 10 points. Added value of the co-development approach, in particular with regards to the nature of the project and complementarity of the background experience of the partners, is 10 points too. 20 points here. Okay. 20 points is a lot. So down to the next one. And this is not applicable. See up here, European added value is not applicable for European co-development. So we can just ignore that. And actually what we'll do is we will put in NA. You can delete this question also, but chances are you're not going to get 70 pages. So I would keep it in, but put NA in. Environment and sustainability, and gender balance and inclusion diversity. These are in every calls. They're down here. It's 5 points and 5 points. I'll talk about this other one in a minute. So again, in the first one here, the environment and sustainability, this is about the actual project. It's about the companies, not just the coordinator. It's about both companies, strategies, policies, the training of the staff in the companies, what the ethos is with regards to this area. Have you worked on Albert before? What's your experience, and how? Don't just talk about previous projects you've worked in. Talk about how this is actually going to impact the project that you're putting in. Okay, so if you are using Albert, if you are going to, there is a new media carbon calculator as well, which is up and running, I do believe, so it'd be good to mention that. But obviously you'll probably be using Albert as well. So put that in here, but talk about maybe the different departments, how each department is dealing with this. Don't just talk about, coffee cups and that, sorting the rubbish out. Yeah. Do I hear somebody? Nope. So yes, you will have a consultant, I presume, and that's fine, but talk about it more. Just don't say, sorry, we have a consultant, they're going to deal with all that. You have to be aware of this, so you have to detail how it's actually going to work with regard to your project. Same with gender balance, inclusion, and diversity. The difference with this question is that with the environment and sustainability, it's only for the actual the process of the project itself. It's not about the content. Whereas with gender balance, inclusion, diversity, it's about the content as well. Okay, so it's about either in the project or the content, or in the way of managing the activity. So, and this is not just about gender balance, it's about everything. Gender balance, it should be a given at this stage. So it's not very innovative. And I know it's not necessarily, but it is where everybody should be at the moment, and I think everybody's a lot more aware of that now. But it is about inclusion, it's about diversity, it's representativeness. It could be it could be the cast, it could be dealing with emerging talent in your company, or they're from socioeconomic backgrounds, is it from different ethnicities, is it what is it, and also is it the content or the act, is the cast, um you know is the cast diverse, is it, so it's not just the crew, is it the actual storyline in that is very important with regard to this question. Okay, and please, yeah, like when they ask for it's gender balance, inclusion, deal with all of these, have a different heading for all of these. Okay, if you think that one of them isn't applicable for you, it is, and it should be. So there you have to have something in here. Right? So, because that's where the points are going to go. If you only do a gender balance, you're only going to get a couple of points. So this is the relevant, right? So that's relevance. We have dealt with most of this. This one here, the European dimension of the collaboration, in particular concerning the cooperation between countries with different market sizes, including a partner from LCC Group A or Group B, as well as the linguistic and geographical diversity. The whole idea behind this call and what they really want to see is they want, and I know I've talked about this before, I won't spend time on this, but they want to see, Ireland is considered a high capacity country, so they would like to see that the high capacity countries are helping the low capacity countries in helping bring expertise to those industries. So that's why if you are working with a company from a low capacity countries, which is the Eastern European countries and a few other countries like Greece, Portugal, Iceland, and Luxembourg. So if you are working with them, you do get extra points. That's just because that's the remit behind this. That is really the ultimate goal of this call. So you do get an extra point. You don't have to be working with them, but just bear in mind you're not going to get all 10 points if you're not working with an LCC. Okay. But if you have linguistic and geographical diversity and you don't have not working with an LCC, then up that, and make an argument for that. If it's in the Irish language, if you're shooting out in the regions, it's build that bit up as well, because that will help. Okay, so we're going down here, quality of the content of activities. Okay, so the concept and methodology, again, look, NA, isn't this great? Okay, so another NA. Okay, not applicable. Format is also not applicable. Just want to make sure that isn't, yeah. God, you're flying through this now before you even know it. Now, for this one here, for European co-development. Can't believe I was trying to do that earlier on with that. Okay, see how it just pops then. Okay, so for European Code of which aspects of the project will contribute to its potential to reach larger and more diverse audiences, including if applicable, young and digital native audiences. So describe the project's potential to cross borders, taking into account the subject, creative team, intended cast. So that is this here, right? Potential to reach audiences at European international level and deal with every single bit of this. Break it down into different headings. Like do that today. Just break down the application, different headings, and then just start filling it in. Because if you miss one of those headings or you miss one of these words, you're losing points. So the transnational appeal of the concept of the subject of the work. How do you think that will work? And why? Potential to reach a larger audience and a more diverse audience, in particular young and digital native audiences, and the potential of the work to cross borders, taken into creative team, the intended cast, which is becoming more important, and nearly not all of them, but an awful lot of the evaluation feedback letters that we receive, it mentions the cast. Okay, it mentions they haven't thought about the cast, or and like everything Creative Europe, they want you to be ambitious but realistic. But they want you to be ambitious. So who do you want in there? And do you have any ins with them? Have you worked with them before? Do you, would they have a particular interest in the subject that you're of this project? Whatever it is, talk about the cast, because the cast then may have a track record in the countries that you want to target. That's the same with the creative team. As a director, big in a particular country and do their projects work there. You see, it's the intended cast or the international ambition with regard to the cast. Okay, they don't expect you to have it in place, but they want you to be thinking about it, and a collaboration strategies with non-national partners. It is very. I know, like you think, okay, well, we have an international partner, that's great, so we will just work with them and we'll target that country. And it's understandable why you would focus on that. It's like, of course, it's international. Look, we're working with them. But they're looking for more. They're not just looking for the information on the countries that you're dealing with. They're actually looking for a broader, how you're dealing with broad audiences. How are you going to reach audiences in other countries, not just the countries that you're working with. Okay, so just bear that in mind, because again, that's something that's been coming up in the evaluation feedback. So they want to see a more, because companies just seem to be focusing on, very focused on the countries that but be a bit more ambitious, broaden it out. How are you going to reach those other countries in Europe and international as well? It's absolutely fine, but do put European in as well. Don't ignore the other European countries. Now, this here, all right, so that's all this. This here is quality of content and activity. So that's the 10 points. The other 10 points, this is going to be your creative dossier here. So the strength and distinctiveness of the idea, subject matter, project focus and dramatic potential, quality of the writing, narrative choices, character development, the world of the story, and the creative potential and quality of the visual approach and artwork. Okay, so they want to see all this. So this will be, when they look at your creative dossier, this is what they're going to be asking themselves. Okay. So we're back to the application. So cost, effectiveness, and financial management. Yep. So this is applicable, unfortunately. So this is demonstrate the cost effectiveness of your action and explain how the estimated budget is conceived in the most economical way. And please also explain your co-financing strategy. So it's probably easier to fill out the rest, fill out your financial strategies, fill out your, do that and do the budget and then go back to this, because it'll be clearer in your head then you can have a bash at that. The risk management is, you have to put in risks and they want to see your weaknesses. You have to be, confident enough to put in your weaknesses. And they do want to see them, because at least you're aware of them. Because you can't go in because something might be blaring obvious to them. But if you don't have it in there, then that could be an issue, right? So these are your peers that are going to be evaluating this. They are other producers from other countries, the vast majority of the evaluators. So they are going to be very aware of what it takes to bring a project together. So they will be looking for risks. So risks could be funders, cast, it could be, whether a particular access. It could be in documentary, it could be, access to the actual story itself, or to the people. So yeah, the location there might be a risk with the location. So whatever it is, make sure you deal with it here. Don't go more than 10. Between 7 and 10 is usually a good number. Okay. Down to project management. Yeah, there we go. For this question, they're looking at the co-development agreement. And they're also looking at this, right? So describe the overall distribution of roles and responsibilities between the partners in the project, including the division of tasks, budget split, heading, division of tasks, heading, budget split, heading, administrative cooperation, and risk management. Okay, and you see it here. It's 25 points. Quality of the project is 10 points. This gets 25 points for the roles and responsibilities, the adequacy of the development strategy, and the financing strategy. Okay. Now, fair. Okay, the roles and responsibility is only 5 points. Okay, but still, it's 5 points. Okay. So division and task, like the question says, budget split, administrative cooperation, and risk management. I'm going to move a bit quicker here because we have to go through the budget as well. Okay, teams, project teams. This is the main staff that are going to be working on a project in both companies or the 3 companies if you're doing a 3-company, 3-way, and the heads of departments as well if you have any of them on board. Right, so you put them in here, and they're not looking for CVs. Don't put CVs. Just put a short paragraph of each for their expertise and the role in the project. Development strategy. This is important. So your development strategy over here, it's 10 points. So the adequacy of the development plan, schedule, and development budget to the needs of the work. They are going to be looking at your development budget, which we will go through, at the same time as looking at this. So this is a 2-pronged question. They're looking for the stage that the project is submitted and identify its needs in terms of development. Okay, so what stage, what has happened already, and what needs to be done. Right, so what areas, if it's script, just a very good overview of it. And then they're looking for the actual activities and what you're actually going to do. Now, this is going to be broken down further in the work packages, which I'll go through. But they want an overall view of it here. And again, break it down. Right, there are points going to every single word that they put in here. So break it down. So you got the envisaged activities during the development project, an overview of it, right? Then you put in the development schedule until the start of production, month by month. There's no reason why you need to do quarter by quarter. Do it month by month. Try and be as detailed as possible to give them the better idea, the better idea they have that's okay. Well, they're looking at the project and then they see your month. You're going to the right markets at the right times. Like, this isn't just for the creative side. This is for everything, right? So it is script writing, but it's also an editing, but it's also research work, the choice of director, casting, location, schedule, start of filming, etc. They want everything down. Okay. The time schedule must include key dates and especially the start date of the production phase, which is at earliest Christmas Day next year, or for video. Okay, so that's the first day of principle. So this is everything right up the first day of principle. It's pre-production. It's everything from the date you apply right up to first day of principle. You put in here. Okay, so you put a month by month. Okay, as we go down here, finance and strategy is again 10 points. Again, deal with everything. Describe strategy to finance the developments of it. So, the Creative Europe funding is only, I'm drawing a blank on this now, I think it's 70%. Somebody can let me know if that's wrong. But you will have to talk about where you're getting the other funding from, because all of this funding is not coming for the development of this project is not from Creative Europe. The rest of it can come from Screen Ireland, it can come from other producers, it can come from pre-sales, it can, whatever it's coming from, that's pre-sales, but wherever it's coming from, you have to put it down here. Okay. Then it's going to be finance and strategy for the production of the submitted project. So, sorry, I'm just conscious. Here's a couple of what is the deal? Let's zoom here. What's the deal with what's the story with yeah, they are the these wonderful tags. These are the tags that they use to process the applications. I don't know how it works. I'm not techie in that way. They look made up to me, but they are, so don't touch them, don't delete them. They are specifically for the processing of it. So yeah, so you just don't need to worry about them, just don't delete them. Okay, so the financing strategy for the production of the submitted project. So you've got the development, the strategy for the development of it, and then you need to put down the strategy for the production of it. We know that this is what development funding is for, so you have time to figure that one out, but you need to have an idea of it. So you talk about the plan, and then you draft a preliminary finance plan and do two of them. Have a plan A and a plan B. So again, they want you to be ambitious but realistic, but they also want you to have a plan B just in case plan A doesn't work out. Okay, they really need to see this. So do put in two plans. It does make a difference. And again, here it does main options, suitable potential partners at national and European international level, as well as initial financial elements already in place or to be confirmed. But the most important thing here is that you've got two plans. Okay. As we go down, and you see again, compared to the estimated production costs in terms of awareness of suitable potential financial partners and territories target. Again, they're going to know the industry, they're producers more than likely, so they will know that if the partners you're talking to make sense for this project. Be as project specific as you can in this application. Just don't talk about documentaries in general, and we'll go for them because they love documentary. Don't do that. It has to be very specific for your project. Why would they go for your specific documentary? Okay, or project, not necessarily documentary. Okay, communication, promotion, and marketing. This is here. Describe the intended marketing strategy, allowing to reach audience at an early stage. Okay, early stage. They don't need to see your entire marketing plan for when it's already made and when you're going out. They need to see how are you going to reach your audience at an early stage. Okay. The definition of your unique selling point, your target audience and markets, innovative marketing and audience engagement tools and promotional activities. And again, this can be B2C as well as B2B. So it's like, okay, so how are you going to reach, create your fan network as you're building this, as it's actually coming together. And then also, how are you going to target your financiers? How are you going to reach them? What are you going to produce? Like, what material are you going to have to show the financiers at markets? So how are you going to reach them? So then we have the distribution, and that one there is 5 points. The distribution then is here. This is 10 points. And again, see the way it's laid out here? Okay, here it's one paragraph. It's laid out here really well. So it's the planned distribution strategy at national and international level, taking into account the audience, the distribution methods foreseen, distribution partners already in place and envisaged. This will show, and it's not here, it's not written here, but here, it's the awareness of the markets and European international vision. So this is what you're going to be marked at when you fill this in, and the relevance of the choice of territories, neighboring countries and regions, Europe and other continents. So there's going to be points going through all of this. So make sure you deal with all of this. And this is where your LOIs come in. This is why they're so important, because it lends a credence to what you're saying. So they don't like emails, like printed emails. They prefer headed letters because there's more there's just more credence to it. So do get in. And again, if you have a contract in place, great, put it in. If you don't, that's fine. It's development. But put in, like, the stronger it is, better it's going to be. The stronger the letter is, the stronger the application is going to be. But it's really important to put in whatever you have in this. And internationally as well, because if they have a letter, an LOI from a international sales agent or a distributor, it's telling the evaluator that they see this project will work on an international stage in a country not necessarily from where both of you are from. both of the companies are from. If it was another country, even better. Okay. So this one here is co-development. Look, we're at the end of the award criteria here. So let's see what's left in the application. So what's left in the application, impact is not applicable. And we are left with the work packages. And the work packages are a hell of a lot easier than they seem. Okay. Now, the way they have it worked out here. So if you stay with me. Okay. The work packages are, this is exactly what they want. Don't make up your own. Okay. Fill it in exactly how they ask you to fill it in. Right. These are your work packages. Again, right? Great instructions, but be careful because this is instructions for everything. So for all the training and festivals and everything. Okay, so you might get a little bit distracted if you start going through that and a little bit confused. So we go straight down to the work package, okay, and we have this open. So you get one template of one work package here, and then you just copy and paste it for the other work packages. So what they need is, project work package number 1 has to be project management and common activities, right? Work package number 2 is what you're doing, what the coordinator is doing, and then what work package number 3 is what the partner is doing. Okay, so it's not done in script writing and research, and no, this is very specific, so don't make up your own. First one is common activities. So if there is an area that both companies are working very closely on, that could be script, that could be the actual writing of it, that could be casting, whatever it is, as well as meeting up. So this is where you would meet at markets and stuff that you're doing together. Whereas if there will be specific roles that both of you have and expertise that both of you have, that they will be broken down into each work package depending on what you're doing. Okay. Now these work packages will align directly. Where is the time gone? It's 13 minutes to 12. Okay. These are, because I still have to go through the budget, so hopefully you can all hang in with me. It is recorded anyway. So, so these work packages have to align exactly with your budget. Okay, so the budget is broken down into work packages as well. So sometimes it's easier to do the budget first, right? And break down the budget first and then fill this in. So it depends what is easier for you, but they have to align. So so here is the project management and common activities, and you copy and paste. Don't make it up. Just if they say they want something, give it to them. Okay, exactly as they want, right? Done. Okay. The duration is going to be one. If your project is 24 months, that's going to be the full length. Okay. The lead beneficiary is the company that's leading this. So which would be you, because you're the coordinator. So you're going to be the one who is working on this, right? Company. I really should come up with something a little bit more creative. Okay, the objectives then is short paragraph on project management and common activities to, or talk about the overall, this is going to be common, travel to markets, or the areas that we work together, including the script writing or whatever it is, right? So that's going to be going in here. Then you put in your tasks. So the task name could be, traveling to our financial meetings, or financier meetings, or it could be, script writing, whatever it is, right? Put in the task name, description. The participants is not the script writer or the editor, whatever it is. It's the name of the company. Okay, they have different names for companies throughout this, just to confuse you. So the participant will be the company. So whether it's you or whether it's them, because this will really be for both of you. So it's you or them. So the role, if it's you, if it's company A, it's going to be the coordinator. If it's company B, it's called beneficiary. So Ben is the name of your company. In-kind contributions and subcontracting, no. Just don't do it. Okay. They don't want it. So just put no the whole way down. Milestones and tasks, number of tasks, don't go over, I guess seven's a good number. Okay, so that you're talking around 6 to 7. Obviously, maybe in the first one it might be less. But definitely as we go through the other work packages, you're talking 6, 7, 8. Okay, don't go beyond 10. Because you're just making life more complicated for yourself. If you can, group them together, if you do have a reel on this, you just group them together, okay, under headings, and then you can describe them in here. Milestones, no, ignore the milestones. They don't want milestones. It's complicated enough as it is, so they don't want milestones. Now, deliverables, you need deliverables because they're not looking for receipts anymore. So for them to know that you've actually done the work that you said you're going to do, they need to see deliverables. So again, don't make up your own, right? It tells you exactly what you put in. Now you can put more in, but there's no need. So don't. So the deliverable name for work package 1, further planning of code development activities up to entry and production of the project. That is the name of your deliverable. Your second deliverable is going to be this. Remember we said that you have to put this back in, the actual template needs to be uploaded again. So you put that in here. 2 deliverables, okay? Work package 1, lead beneficiary would be you, company A, again, company A. The type of document will be a report. It is not a microdata, it is not a data set, it is not a patent filing. It is a report. They are all going to be reports. Don't put in anything else. Put that in, right? The entire, all the way down for all of them. Just put in document and report. And here, the dissemination level. They do what you tell them to do. So if you put down public, they will make this public once you send it into them. Don't put down public. If you put down classified, then they're not going to be able to read it, okay, because it's classified. Don't put down classified. So everything is going to be sensitive. Okay. Now, if you have, like down here on one of them, it could be interoperable standard identifier, that's your ISAN number, and link to the final work if produced. You can put that in as public if you want, but you don't have to. So due date is going to be the end. It's going to be description. It's going to be in English. It's going to be a PDF, and it is going to be this. Done. Right. And that is how you do it. Now, it won't take you long. So that's the way you do it in terms of the work package 2 and following. So this is the very much the company specific one. You will have 6 deliverables for each, no more, no less. This is what they want. So they want updated creative development. They want updates on research work undertaken in visual material. Just copy and paste these in, right, to each of them. Well, actually, you don't need, like, for example, if artistic crew and casting, if your partner company is not dealing with artistic crew and casting, then don't put it in for them. Or if, but more than likely they will be. So, because if you are working close together, they will do some. But if they're not doing all of it, then you don't have to put all in. But yeah, but just make sure they are all dealt with in at least one of them, one of the further work packages. Okay, so they're the work packages in the part B. The estimated budget resources is not applicable for you. See that? It's NA, right? So you can ignore all of this budget here. See, work package, insert work package, you copy. So you have to copy and paste that first one. Staff effort per work package, you don't need that. It's not applicable either for you here. Subcontracting, see, they don't want it. Okay. Well, it's, yeah, just don't do it. Okay. So it is applicable for you. If you want to put subcontracting in, you can. Subcontracting is, okay, so subcontracting, if you are taking part of your budget and you're giving it to a third party to control that funding and that money, and they can do with it what they want, and you're not really overseeing it, that's subcontracting. If you are, whereas everything else in this industry really can be talked about as, or an awful lot of things, as a service cost. It's just a cost, it's a service. Okay, so it's not, so casting Could be argued, well, subcontracting but it also, you are going to be overseeing it, so it's a service. So yeah, subcontracting is a nightmare, so try not to, unless you really have to. Don't put it in there. Events trainings you don't need, because that's for training courses, because this is for other calls as well. And then the timetable. It's projects up to 2 years, you have to put it in month by month, and you list all of your tasks down here, and it's a bit of arts and crafts here. You have to beige all the boxes out depending on the months that you put in when the month is starting. I'll say, okay, so going back up to the work package here, if most of it would be all, yeah, I'll show you.
Orla, just a question on the subcontracting there in the comments.
Yeah, yes, so you leave it blank. Yeah, you put no here if there's no subcontracting, and then you just leave that one blank. Yeah. So the months wise, the way that you beige those boxes out, this is the duration here. If the task is a particular like for 2 months in between, but it doesn't even ask for that. So I would just color them in the whole way down, because all this development, both, like, it's all going to be relevant from day one. Day one, you're going to be working together. Day one, your company is going to have activities, and the other company is going to have activities. So it is from day one right down to the end. So just put it the whole way down. So that's there. Like this will come into play more if it's slate and you have different projects starting at different times. Okay, double funding. There's no double funding, that you don't have any other EU funding for this. We confirmed to our best knowledge that the project doesn't, yeah. So you confirm to the best of your knowledge, it's yes and yes. Financial support to third parties, not applicable. Annexes, ignore this. It says CVs. It just ignore this. You are looking, this is what you're dealing with. This is your Bible here, not this. Okay. If required in the call documents. Okay. So just ignore that. List of previous projects. If you got funded through Creative Europe in the last 4 years, you have to add them in here. If you didn't, you can ignore it. And then that's the part B. Okay, so when you get that filled out, you save it as a PDF. You can be working away in it and save it as a PDF, and then you upload it to the portal. Now, sorry, this is taking longer than I thought. So we are going to go into, maybe I've been putting it off. Maybe that's what the problem is. The budget. So the budget. Okay. The budget is, it's a macro. It's an XLSN. Okay, so when I double click this, it'll come up, well, on my computer, it comes up as it contains macros. Do you want to disable macros for opening the file? You don't want to disable them because it won't work. You have to enable them. So if it's not working, you have to have a look through your settings to make sure that the macros is working. Okay. Oh, the budget. Right. So the instructions have gotten better and better down through the years. They've seen the trickiness out. They've seen the different things that people are doing. So they're highlighting areas that you really need to focus on. So the instructions are great, actually. Little things saying, recommend using Excel 2010 or more recent. It's only euros. It tells you what the first thing you need to do is, how to add it all in. And I will go through that now with you anyway. But do read this, because if you have any questions, more than likely it'll come back here. But just to give you an overview of what yeah, so I'll go through this just to give you an idea of how it looks when we're working on it. Okay. So the name of the call, you have to fill these in first, because it carries along throughout the other sheets. So everything you fill in the first page carries through. So European co-development, my wonderfully creative test. So the maximum grant amount is stipulated in the call. So if you are two companies, the maximum amount that you can get is 120,000. If you are three companies, the maximum amount that you would put here would be 180. Okay, so I'm just going to go, we're going for two. So it's going to be 120. Now, careful, even the little things like this. See the way no comma comes up? So it can be hard to see if you're putting it in. So just make sure you have the right number of zeros. You'd be surprised. People put in an extra number an extra zero in and throws everything off. The maximum co-financing rate. I'm drawing an absolute blank here. So if anybody, I think it's 70%. Yep, there we go. Okay. No, that's the float. Okay. I think it's 70%. I'm going to put in 70% and maybe somebody can tell me if it's different. Something that I would have known an hour ago has gone straight out of my head. So I'm going to put in 70%. Okay. So down here, then you have the type of employees. So the type of employees is important because it will put it into each of the budgets. So whether that is development, development, head of development head. And then, you could have what else? Junior development. I know I'm making up titles here, and I will stick in an accountancy. Actually, that will come up under something else. I'm going to leave that. Right. So these are the main names, the heads of the main type of employees that both companies will have, and they have to be general, and I'll show you why. Okay, so this is it. Ignore this, right? Create the XLSX document. You don't need that. So all you have to do is fill it in. Then we go to the next page, which is beneficiaries list. Put that up here. So we have BE1, which is going to be us, right? So this is the coordinator. Okay, acronym is Media Desk. Country is Ireland. And it gives everything. Where's Ireland? There it is. Okay. And then to add a beneficiary, which you're going to have to, you double click this, add a beneficiary. You ignore these things coming up. If there's an affiliated entity, of course, you need to fill that in. Not going into that now. If you have an issue with that, contact me directly and we can go through that. So the name of the company, our partner company, is Media Antenna. And for this, yeah, you're going to be from Belgium because you should be from Belgium. Okay. So, and see this here. Okay, apply changes right now. I'll show you what that does then, right? So on the bottom here, there's work package list, there's BE001. Okay, there's only one beneficiary. Okay, so as we go back in to the beneficiary list, if we apply changes, so double click that, it looks like your computer is crashing. It's not. It's doing its work. And as you can see, it's changing all the sheets down the bottom and it's created a BE2, right? So it's created a second budget for Media Antenna. Okay, so that's the beneficiaries list. Work package
Orla,
list.
okay.
Yep.
Orla, just a question there on the personnel list before we move on.
Don't mention the producer or the co-producer and the director as part of that personnel list. The director, this is the staff of the company, and I will go through this anyway when we go into the budget itself. Yeah, and I'll talk about that then. Okay. Thanks, Ashley. So so the list of work packages, then the first one, we go back here. The first one is going to be exactly the same name as the work package that you put into part B. Right. Then we add a work package and it's going to be project coordinator development activities, or that could be, company A development activities. Okay, so or media desk. Yeah. You do have a name, development activity. And then we add a work package. And then this is going to be partner one development activities. Actually, I'll just do that again. So media antenna. Okay. And then we double click apply changes. And again, I'll show you what happens here is if I go into our budget, there's only one work package, project management and common activities. It can carry that across, but when I apply changes, again, it looks like it's crashing. It's not crashing. Again, it's doing its work the whole way across. And then when I go back into beneficiary one, it gives you all of the work packages. Okay, and it's the same on the beneficiaries one, right? It gives them all here. See the headings? Now I'll go back into the first one and I'll pull that up here. Right. Now, you can't add a line, you can't delete a line, you can't rename something. You have to deal with what they give you. Now, except up here, right? See this? These are the names of the employees that I added in here. Okay, I put 0 there because I didn't actually have anything typed in there. But that will come exactly into the next work package and the next work package. So if there is specific you know, like a title of a employee that would specifically for, that other company, but generally no, it's just development. So it would be you'd have the same on both, obviously more than this. Okay, so you put the employees in, the natural persons under direct contract that you're contracting to the company for a certain amount of time would go in here. Okay, specifically contracting to the company as an employee. Seconded persons are people who are working, getting paid by another company, and they're seconded out to your company. So chances are that's not going to happen. SME owners without salary, that is an option, and I'll send you on the link and for that. And then volunteers. Okay, so then we have subcontracting costs, which you won't have anyway. And then we have the same. So in each of these, it's the same titles. And you just have to make your budget fit, right? So for the first one, project management and common activities, there will be travel. You will be going to markets, right? And there will be accommodation and there will be subsistence. I'm just going to put, one here and just to fill in something. Actually, I'm going to put 12 here. Okay. Whatever it is, okay. There is a guideline with the amount of the max ceiling amount of what is allowed for the accommodation and subsistence, and we will send, and it's been updated recently, and when we send out the recording of this, we will send you the link to that as well. And you can have that. It's just a maximum amount, which you probably wouldn't hit anyway, per country. Okay. And you put subsistence in there. So then as we go down here, everything else has to fit in here. Okay, now for the management, probably most of your costs would be in the actual, cost for the staff, and then the travel and accommodation. You mightn't have a huge amount for this. Whereas if you go down to the next one, so because this is coordinator, okay, this is R1, this is the media desk one. This is where we put our development activities. So those development activities are specifically for your company. Okay, so that's what you have to put in here. Just notes a couple more. How do you unprotect the beneficiary tabs? What do you mean unprotected now? Oh, don't worry about that. Yeah, I know it says here, like there are locks here, but you just fill in the white boxes.
It was
Don't
just
put-
if I wanted to change type 3 or type 4 to a different role heading, like
For employees, you
production
go
is
back here.
yeah.
Yeah. So these are the only ones that you can put in.
Okay.
Okay. So it has to be, and you know, it doesn't have to be too specific. Okay.
Gotcha.
So you just change it here. And then you can leave it blank. So if one of that is irrelevant to that work package, then you just don't put any costs in for it.
And if you were to do some shooting as part of development, would you include the DOP or
Yeah.
both? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They're
And
not
where that
necessarily
goes in.
company.
So yeah. So if you're doing that, so if that is your cost, like if you're doing the teaser or the pilot, then that would go in under fees. Okay. You will find that a lot of it will go under fees. So the writing will go under fees, the cast, and then there's production costs as well. So that is where your teaser will go in. And then there's short-term rental of services, venues or studios for that, and then other. And other is probably where a lot of it comes in. And if you go all the way down to the end of the very last sheet is any comments. And this is where you fill this out. So as you will notice, like don't try and don't spend time trying to figure out where it all goes. Guess at the beginning, go, yeah, it fits more than likely there. And then if it doesn't fit anywhere, just put it in other.
So
Okay,
you're
so they
putting the
can
total amount in there, and then you're giving the subheadings to that total amount within the.
within the other any comments. Yeah, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So again, with you might have your own travel, you might be doing your own recce's like for your company, so they will go into that travel and accommodation will go in here. So whatever you're doing specifically for your own company, is going to go in here. Um, so I'm just going to fill in. I really should come up with a proper plan to do this. Okay, and then and there are unit. Actually, I'll talk about that now because for the unit here, it's months. Okay, so your development head then is not. It's and they fit. There's 215 days in a working days in a year according to Brussels, which there's 18 working days in a month. So that would be 1 month. So a unit would be 1 month. Okay. So you tot it all up and then you break it down. Okay. So even though the project could be over 3 years or 2 years, the amount of work might be only 5 months. Okay. So um and that is only for personnel costs. So down here, then we've got the subtracting. So the next one here, you'll see the media antenna because both of these work packages look or budgets look exactly the same. They both have the media desk activities and the antenna activities. Okay. But you just fill in your own depending on so if this is media desk, you only fill in your costs for work package 1 and your costs for work package 2. So you will ignore work package 3 and then you don't put in their costs. Okay. When your partner will work on their budget because you're going to be working closely together, so they will work on theirs. Again, they put in their costs for for your project management and common activities for only their costs. They will ignore this and they will only fill in this. Okay, and again, you will both fill in this here, and because you'll say the number of the comment, the BE reference, so whether it's 001 or 002, and then the work package reference. Okay, and then the breakdown here. So that's the budget. Okay, here. So they're the main costs. So you will have to do your own budget, and then you'll have to fit it in here as well as you can. So as long as the figures look right to you. And then so I'm going to put some costs in here. Yeah, we're going to have to go Blue Peter on this, and we're going to have one I made earlier because yeah, which would make a lot more sense. Okay, I'm going to put some money in here as well. Okay, so just to have something in. Okay, so that's both of your budgets filled in. Now, the other tabs you don't really touch. Okay, so the other tab, estimated costs of the budget. So that's the whole thing side by side, both companies down. So you can see things at a glance, how it's looking. Okay. And up here, these are the total costs. So for beneficiary 1 is 69,336, and beneficiary 2 is 80,250, just from the figures that I'm putting in. Okay. So that's the total budget. That's not just what you're applying for in media for. This is the total development budget. Then when we get to the proposal budget, it's the same thing, just lengthwise. So as we go across here, this is because I put 70% in as the max total EU contribution that you can get, it automatically calculates it. Okay, so this is the total amount that we put in. So it'll get 70% of this and put it in here. So company 1 will get 48,000 according to my calculations, and company 2 will get 56,175. So these are the figures all the way back at the beginning where we go, hang on, got too many things open. Back here, back in edit forms, go back to edit forms, back to budget, and this has to match exactly with these figures here. Okay, so this is how much you're applying for. You're applying for total 104,710. Just in my made up numbers. Okay, so that's the proposed budget. Then as we go across, this is the work package overview. This is what each work package will cost. And then this is the person months. Okay, so this is the person months that you need to know as well, right? So these are the units for the personnel only. Depreciation costs, if you do have, they're very proud of this sheet here. So if you do have any depreciation costs, put them in here, but chances are you won't, or if you do, it won't be a lot. Okay. And then you've got your any costs. So when you're finished with all of that, you will need to save this as a XLS. Right now it's an Excel, it's a macro budget. So you will, no, we'll go back here. Okay. You will need to save that to enable to upload it. You'd have to save it as an XLS. And then you upload it here. So there's your proposal, part B, the Word document, your co-development agreement, your creative dossier, excuse me, your detailed budget table, which is that. You got your info on independence and ownership control, info on language of submission documents, hopefully very straightforward for you. The PDF from the media database, the rights contracts, and then all your supporting, all your LOIs that you have on one PDF. The minimum spend for, there's no minimum spend. There's no minimum spend. The way it works is, so if you've got 120,000, it doesn't have to be split fifths, 60,000, 60,000. It can be like 80,000, 40,000. But if it's, 110,000 and 10,000, they might go, well, how much of a collaboration is this? So just be careful there. Try and, like, if they see it as a true creative collaboration, that you're both putting in, that you're both doing you're as much as you can on it, you're working together on it. It should be around, 50-50. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be, but and it will all be laid out in the co-development agreement. So if they're only spending, if their cost is very low, just make sure you explain it and explain why that is. Because they want fairness, they want transparency, they want that it's a true creative collaboration. So why aren't they getting more? Okay. So what reasonably might be the minimum threshold of a second company for a true collab? It is for the 50-50 here, and this is where your argument comes in. This is where your justification of the cost, your explanation of the actual development comes in, how you're working together. Like, bear in mind the collaboration between the two of you is really around 60% of the award criteria. So like 60 points around that. So you have to go into detail about this. So if it's not a very strong one, you can lose points on that. Okay. But the two companies must invest 30% of the full amount. Yeah, yeah. Is there an allowable percentage amount in regards to the production overhead fee allowance? Oh, this is going back to the question about producer. The overheads, well, I'll show you one thing about the overheads. Where is it? Where am I going? Oh. Okay, the one thing about the overheads, the indirect costs is automatic 7% that appears. So they allow 7% automatically. So that is for insurance, you know, just stationery, rent of offices. But like, you can put in, like, there is down at the bottom here, there is short-term rental services. Like, if you do have an office, if you justified, you explain it, you could put it in there. But ideally for the actual overheads, that's what the indirect costs is for. So that's automatically calculated in. Is there an allowed percentage? Well, that's the 7%. You can put in. I mean, if you're a producer and you're working on this, you put it in, right? But it put in development producer, and it won't be a huge amount, because but if you are the head of development, would be the person working on this mostly. But it might be you, so put in development producer or whatever. Do we need to explain the costs in the comment section of the detailed budget? If you need to break it down, yeah. So if like down in other, if you have 50 grand in other, you have to explain it. If you have fees, you have to explain it. You have to break it down exactly what that is. Okay. Whoever of you is dealing with it could be both of you dealing with the marketing aspect, you can put it in here. And website, you don't necessarily have to break that one down, it's very self-explanatory. But things like even production costs and technical costs of prototyping, so you do have to explain that if you are doing a teaser that are some shooting, that's what's happening here. So yeah, so the more detailed you are in comments, the happier they are. So okay. So I think that's it. Okay. So at the end here, so once you upload all of these, well before the 25th of February, aim for at least 2 days before to just upload it. Upload whatever you have at that time, upload it, and at least it's in. Then you can go back and tweak it. Then you can go back in and add more letters here if you're waiting for them in the supporting documents. We have had cases where people are sitting on their application, they don't hit submit, they're waiting and waiting for that one letter, and then it arrives at 3:30 on the day, and they're trying to submit it, and the system crashes, and they don't get it in. So they don't get anything in. So and then there's nothing you can do. Okay. So it's really important that you do submit early, and then you can go back in, and it takes the last version of your application. That's the version it accepts. It accepts at the end of the day. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. And then you press submit, and then yeah. With this validate button, make sure you validate it throughout, because it is very handy to see if you've forgotten something, or if something isn't. It's like a little check to-do list. So it is very handy to have, and then you click validate before you submit it anyway. And what else? I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, if you have any questions, I'm in Dublin. Aisling is with me in Dublin. The Jules is in Galway. Come to us. Make sure you let us know if we haven't scared you off today. that if you are applying, come to us. We get out the red pen. Look, I even have one here. We get out the red pen and we go through your application, and we can't guarantee anything because we're not going to be evaluating it at the end of the day, but we can steer you in the right direction. We do have an inside track. We are in constant touch with Brussels, so we can spot things that maybe you just need to tweak, or you're not focusing on it enough. And we see enough applications, so we sort of have a good idea what generally works. So do please use us in that, and let us know that you're applying as well, so we can be that person to go, how are you getting on? You know, a little poke on the shoulder, to just keep you moving on it. So do let us know. I'm going to stop recording.